what is a project proposal?
So, a project proposal is a document which outlines the details of proposed project to be given to potential sponsors to receive funding and approval.
So, how do we make a good project proposal? That's a good question.
Well, there are unique features in crafting a project proposal. A good project proposal must include the goals and objectives that the project wants to accomplish. It's simply stated here what the project wants to achieve. Another feature is that the project plan must include the details on how to set the goals and objectives will be accomplished. It includes how the project will be carried out step by step. Another feature is the financial, human, and technical resources useful in implementing the project. These are the kind of help and materials required to make the project work. Last feature is the budget that specifies how much money is needed and for what purpose it will be spent. It is a detailed plan that shows how much money is needed and exactly what it will be used for.
Oh my god, how can we do this?
So hard. Yeah, it's impossible. For real.
Guys.
Wait, guys, are you really struggling in making a project proposal?
Yes.
Come on, let's watch this video that I found that might help us in making a project proposal. Hi guys,
Welcome back to our success discussion.
so do you know the types of project proposals?
Yeah, there are actually 6 types of proposal that you may encounter as a project manager. And understanding the different formats can be useful as you write yours, as each type has a different goal.
So in solicited, you'll send solicited proposals in response to a request proposal, which is RFP. An RFP announces a project in detail and asks for bids from qualified teams. Because you're competing against other companies for this type of proposal, you must do thorough research and write persuasively. So in solicited, it is sent in response to an RFP. So one that is submitted in response to a specific work statement from the sponsor.
So the next type of project proposal is unsolicited. It is when you'll send unsolicited proposals without an RFP, meaning no one asked for your proposal. In this case, you won't be up against other companies or teams, but you'll still need to be persuasive because you have no knowledge of whether the stakeholder you're pitching to needs you. So it simply means that unsolicited, these are initiated by an individual or a company to offer a business, service, or product to an organization.
So the third type of project proposal is informal. So in this type, you may have a client send you an informal request for a project proposal, in which case you can respond with your project pitch. Because this isn't an official RFP, the rules are less concrete. So in informal, it is created when a client asks for an informal proposal without an RFP.
So the fourth type of project proposal is renewal. Is when you'll send renewals to existing clients in hopes that they'll extend their services with your organization. In this type of project proposal, the goal is to emphasize past results your team has produced with a client and persuade them so you can produce future results. So, a renewal simply means that it is when an existing client asks to restart a finished project.
So the next type of project proposal is continuation. In this type, you'll send continuations as a reminder to a stakeholder, letting them know the project is beginning. In this project proposal, you'll simply provide information about the project instead of persuading the stakeholder. So in continuation, these are business documents created to extend a current project or contract.
So the last type of project proposal is supplemental. It is similar to a continuation proposal, while you'll send a supplemental proposal to a stakeholder already involved in your project. You should persuade the stakeholder to contribute more to the project in this proposal. In this type of proposal, you're letting the stakeholder know the project is beginning, while also asking for additional resources.
So, in writing a project proposal, the tone of voice and content of your project proposal will differ based on the type of proposal you are sending. When you know your project goals, you can write your proposal accordingly. So, how about the requirements of project proposal?
I actually don't know. So, how about let's ask the other members?
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine Lagarde,
Hi, I'm John Benedict D. I'm Daniel Cerverasis.
and we are the one that will discuss the requirements of a project proposal. So there are 6 steps in a project proposal. First is the executive summary. This briefly explains what's to come. Second is explain project background. This presents your problem in detail. Next is present the solution. Outline how you'll reach the solution. Next is define deliveratives and goals. Identify what items you'll deliver. List required resources. Calculate your project budget. States conclusion. Confidently restates your case.
These step-by-step instructions apply to most project proposals, regardless of type. You'll need to customize your proposal for the intended audience, but this project proposal outline can serve as a reference to ensure you're including the key components in your document.
How to write a project proposal. First is to write an executive summary. This serves as an introduction to your project proposal, similar to a project report abstract or an essay introduction. Depending on the complexity of your project, your executive summary may be one paragraph or few paragraphs. Additionally, your executive summary should include the problem your project plans to solve, the solution to your project provides for that problem, the impact your project will have. You should only address these items briefly in your executive summary because you'll discuss these topics in more detail later in your proposal.
Number 2. Explain the project background. In this section, you go into the background of project. Use reference and statistics to convince your reader that the problem you're addressing is worthwhile. You can also use this section to explain how the problem you hope to solve directly relates to your organization. Some questions to include are: what is the problem your project addresses? What is already known about this problem? Who has addressed this problem before? What research is there? Why is past research insufficient at addressing this problem? Number 2. Present a solution. You just presented the problem in the project background section. So the next logical step is in proposal writing is to present a solution. Some items to include are your vision statement for the project, your project schedule, including important milestones, project team roles and responsibilities, a risk register showing how you will mitigate risk, the problem deliverables, reporting tools you'll use throughout the project. This section is your opportunity to outline your project approach in greater detail. You may not have all these items in your proposal format, but you can decide what to include based on the project scope. This section will likely be the longest and most detailed section of your proposal, as you'll discuss everything.
Fourth is define project deliverables and goals. Defining your project deliverables is a crucial step in writing your project proposal. Stakeholders want to know what they're going to produce at the end of your project, whether that is a product, a program, an upgraded technology, or something else. As the stakeholder reads through your vision, this will be the section where they say, aha, this is what they'll use my resources for. When defining your deliverables, you should include the end product or final objective of your project, a project timeline for when deliverables will be ready, SMART goals that align with the deliverables you're producing. While it's important to show the problem and solution to your project, it is often easier for stakeholders to visualize the project when you can define the deliverables.
Number 5. List what resources you need. Now that you've outlined your problem, approach, solution, and deliverables, you can go into detail about what resources you need to accomplish your initiative. In this section, you include project budget. The project budget involves everything from the supplies you'll need to create a product to add pricing and team salaries. You should include any budget items you need to deliver the project here. Breakdown of cost. This section, you should include research on why you need specific resources for your project. That way, stakeholders can understand what their buy-in is being used for. Breakdown of cost. This breakdown can also help you mitigate unexpected cost. By this point in the proposal, You've convinced the stakeholders to get on board with your post-project, which is why saving the required resources for the end of document is a smart strategic move. So in short, this is where you calculate your project budget.
Number 6. State your conclusion. Finally, wrap up your project proposal with a persuasive and confident conclusion. Like the executive summary, the conclusion should briefly summarize the problem your project addresses and your solution for solving that problem. You can emphasize the impact of your project in the conclusion, but keep this section relevant, just like you would in a traditional essay.
Here are tips for writing an effective project proposal. First, know your audience. Second, be persuasive. Third, keep it simple. And lastly, do your research. For your proposals to be approved, make sure to apply these tips.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me 3, me 4, me 5.
Okay, so your project proposal is approved. Wait, you're not yet done. You still have to make your decision paper.
Here we go again.
Oh, so you're here again.
Welcome back to our success discussion.
So now, let's talk about position paper. A position paper is a type of academic writing that presents one stand or viewpoint on a particular issue. The main objective of writing a position paper is to answer arguments and provide a detailed explanation of the stands in order to show that they have full understanding of the subject. So there are three unique features of a position paper: the introduction, body, and conclusion. The introduction, it states the issue, its importance, and the writer's position, ending with a clear stand. So for further understanding, Rahel, can you give us an example?
Sure. For the given example about euthanasia, the author states first the issue. He introduces euthanasia and its importance in reducing suffering. Then, he provides background to explain the legal and ethical challenges surrounding euthanasia. After that, he gives a thesis statement that presents the stance, arguing that legal changes are needed to treat humans as compassionately as animals. Lastly, he gives the position statement that concludes with a firm stand, emphasizing the unfairness of current laws.
So now, let's proceed to the body. The part may have several paragraphs that may begin with short background information or a discussion of arguments on both sides of the issue. In each paragraph, an explanation or observation to clarify the portion of the position statement must be written and then followed by the supporting evidence. So in this part, state your main arguments and provide sufficient evidence. The evidences that can be used are the primary source, quotation, interviews with field experts, recommendation from scholarly articles and position papers, historical dates or events, and statistical data. Provide counter-arguments against possible weaknesses of your arguments.
The example given shows first the counterclaims, addressing opposing views logically. Second, the arguments that present strong points supporting your position, and the author gives examples that use real-life cases to strengthen arguments. And lastly, the supporting statements that provide reasoning and evidence.
The conclusion reinforces key points, suggests solutions, and ends with a strong statement. The example provided illustrates a conclusion using a real-life experience to support euthanasia, making the argument more compelling.
Guidelines and requirements in writing a position paper. So for you to write a strong position paper, begin with thorough research on the topic, objectively analyze various perspectives, critically reflect on your own position, including its weaknesses, and finally, support your claims with evidence from reliable sources to establish credibility. For this slide, it says here that you need to present a unique approach to the issue. Limit the paper to 2 pages. Analyze your target audience and tailor your arguments to their beliefs and motivations. Summarize and refute opposing arguments with evidence, and clearly define any unfamiliar terms upon first use. In this slide, for you to enhance your position paper, use active voice for stronger tone. Arrange evidence logically using inductive or deductive reasoning. Check for and correct fallacies, and employ ethical, logical, and emotional appeals while ensuring these appeals are not fallacious. Purpose of position paper. A position paper aims to build support for a stance on an issue by presenting the author's position, its rationale, and supporting evidence based on facts, critically examining the position using inductive reasoning, and addressing both the strengths and weaknesses of the opinion.